We have all seen enough sci-fi movies to know how they go. As soon as the aliens arrive on Earth, they start harvesting the planet's resources at an alarming rate. And now it seems that this might not just be science fiction after all. Geologists recently discovered the remnants of gigantic machines buried deep in the ground. But who built them and why? To find out more, we need to head over to northern Canada, where the barren landscape has become the site of a major archaeological discovery. Here, a group of researchers found traces of gigantic structures 2 kilometers beneath the surface. These metallic pillars were so large that they would put the size of the Great Wall of China to shame. But the most shocking fact is that these colossal machines had been covered up for thousands of years. So how did the archaeologists manage to spot them? To answer that question, we need to take a brief look at the history of the region. 11,000 years ago, this area was covered by a massive ice sheet that stretched from Canada to New England. It was nearly 4 kilometers thick, and its melting led to the formation of the present-day oceans. However, recent studies show that this process took place much faster than previously assumed. This means that if there had been any human settlements here, they would have been submerged around the year 9800 BC. Consequently, evidence of life during that time period should lie dormant beneath the seabed. For many scientists, the idea of ancient people living so far north is already quite controversial, since the region's indigenous population traditionally inhabited the coastal regions, but this discovery suggests otherwise. Before conducting explorations, the research team used non-invasive methods such as magnetic and gravitational field measurements to identify irregularities in the layers of sediment. Then they examined soil samples with the help of a special type of radar, which revealed traces of large structures. After 2 weeks of work, they finally began digging manually in the bedrock. During the painstaking process, they found pieces of metal that turned out to be parts of gigantic machines. But what exactly are these mysterious pillars and how old are they? At first, the experts believed that they were dealing with modern scrap metal that had been washed away by currents and deposited in layers over time. However, further investigations showed that the machines were much older. According to radiocarbon dating, the upper layer in which the objects were discovered could be dated to around 9600 BC. The lower layer contained objects from 8000 BC. The corresponding age range corresponds to the so-called late prehistoric, a period in which humans learned to smelt metals like copper and bronze. But the creators of these machines clearly mastered a much more advanced technology. Researchers suspect that the metal parts once belonged to drills or other mining tools. They also found traces of an artificial cavity several meters in diameter. Overall, this gives us the impression that the locals used to operate huge drilling rigs, perhaps to mine valuable minerals or other resources. Even though the experts had expected to find signs of human activity, they never anticipated discovering relics of such a sophisticated civilization. In fact, the entire region was considered uninhabitable until this discovery. But what could have prompted people to settle here? Well, it's possible that the melting ice sheet drove them to migrate northward, but then why did they cover up the traces of their existence? There can be many reasons for this. Perhaps the survivors wanted to hide from other groups that they didn't get along with, or maybe they feared something else entirely, something that drove them to abandon their homes and flee. Maybe it was a catastrophe of biblical proportions that befell them, and maybe it wasn't the melting glaciers that forced them to leave, but the rising sea level that swallowed their homeland. But who were these people and where did they go? We still don't know the answers to these questions, but one thing is clear: the machines discovered in Canada are only the tip of the iceberg. After all, the majority of the Earth's surface is covered by water and most of the landmass is located in uninhabited areas. Who knows what other secrets lie dormant in the depths of our planet? In order to find out more about the enigmatic past of mankind, we now travel from Canada to Saudi Arabia. Here, researchers have succeeded in deciphering one of the oldest pieces of writing in history. The mysterious script dates back 3,400 years. For comparison, the Egyptian pyramids are only 4,500 years old. And while experts have managed to decipher numerous artifacts from that era, the origin of this particular document has always remained a mystery. The clay tablet was discovered in the ancient city of Tel El Mana in the northern part of the country. When the artifact was found, no one knew which language it contained. Nobody could read it because it was written in a script that was unknown until now. But we still don't know what the mysterious text says, since it's generally accepted that the first cities and states developed in Mesopotamia. Many believe that the script originated there. However, the approximately 50 known cuneiform signs differ significantly from those used in Mesopotamia. Although the script resembles that of Sumeria, it contains many unique elements that have so far defied interpretation. This is why the script was initially called Proto-Semitic and later Thamudic. But what does the word Thamudic actually mean? It's derived from Thamudic, an ancient Arab tribe that lived in northwest Saudi Arabia. Researchers suspect that the new script may contain the Thamudic language, but nobody could confirm this hypothesis because the script was indecipherable. However, that has now changed. Experts from the University of California have succeeded in deciphering the script, which makes it possible to say something about the culture of the people who created it. It seems that the residents of Thamud were very concerned with the welfare of their community. On the clay tablet, you can see a series of individual signs that when put together form words, which make up lines of text. According to this, the object was probably an official document that listed the names of members of a community and their contributions to a common fund. Anyone who wanted to use the money had to say which purpose he wanted to use the funds for. If approved, he received his share. This practice is also known from later Islamic welfare organizations. But how did the researchers manage to decipher the text? For many years they compared the script with other texts from the region and eventually found parallels to the Arabic languages of Yemen. In the end, however, it needed the help of modern linguistic tools to establish the connection. The researchers scanned the clay tablet with the help of artificial intelligence and compared the results with other scripts. This allowed them to determine which signs fit together and what meaning they had. With this knowledge, they were able to translate the rest of the text. However, we still don't know exactly what language the text is written in. Some experts believe that it was Thamodic, while others think that it was Arabic. Ultimately, the two scripts are so similar that the difference between them is barely recognizable. Either way, the decipherment provides us with an insight into the social structure of the ancient Arabs. Thus, it seems that they were very concerned with caring for the needy members of their community and tried to create a kind of social safety net. While the script found in Saudi Arabia tells us something about the daily life of ancient people, the machines discovered in Canada make us wonder what purpose they served. To find out more, we now travel to Western Australia, where a team of researchers discovered a bizarre structure in the remote bush. Using Google Earth, they spotted a peculiar formation that bore some resemblance to crop circles. However, the strange pattern had been present for decades and was therefore not caused by modern man. Curious to see what the phenomenon was all about, the researchers made their way to the area and discovered a series of concentric rings. The strange thing about this is that the structure measures a good 300 meters in diameter, making it almost twice as large as the Egyptian pyramids. At first glance, the site bears a striking resemblance to an enormous Native American Indian symbol that's about 13 kilometers away. However, the researchers soon recognized that the concentric rings formed the remains of an ancient dam. After closer inspection, they realized that it was the remnant of a hydraulic structure that had been constructed by termites. Accordingly, the tiny insects had sucked up sand and clay over the course of hundreds of years, layer by layer. What purpose the dam served has not yet been fully clarified. It's possible that the termites used it to store water. However, other experts believe that it was part of a defense mechanism against predators. At this point, we'd like to point out that the dam is not the largest structure ever built by termites. In South Africa, researchers once discovered the remains of a dam that measured 1,500 meters in circumference. However, even though termite dams are impressive in terms of their size, it's questionable whether they will survive the test of time. In contrast to the pyramids, they're not made of stone, but consist mainly of clay, which is constantly washed away by the weather. This is why most termite dams will probably be destroyed within a few thousand years, leaving little trace of their existence. This fate may also have overtaken the gigantic drilling rigs in Canada. Over the millennia, the glaciers have not only covered the machines, but also shifted them several kilometers. It's doubtful that anything will remain of the structures in the future, unless they're protected as cultural assets. What do you think about these amazing discoveries? Let us know your thoughts and stay tuned for more videos about incredible archaeological finds.